All right, good morning, everyone. Baseball and Coffee is here on September 11th. Thursday, September 11th, which obviously is an important day for all Americans, all New Yorkers. It's also my parents' anniversary, so happy anniversary to my parents. I was stuck all morning in the DMV with my wife, so I wasn't able to make any coffee, so we're going with a Dunkin', the official coffee of Massachusetts. If I can just rip this bag open, and then I can get into this. Good morning, Mitch. Good morning, Scott. I was impressed by Kyle Harrison, the Red Sox new reliever. So Kyle Harrison was a big-time prospect starter for the Giants, who got traded in this Rafael Devers trade. So maybe we will take a peek at him. I know he pitched yesterday in relief of... actually, the Red Sox threw quite a few pitchers yesterday. Peyton Tolley started the game. I think he only pitched like 2 innings. So, yeah, that's where we are here in the morning. We'll head over here to the main screen. Hope if there's any Red Sox fans out there that caught the video on this dude, Connolly early. I was actually quite impressed by him from 2 nights ago. Considering he's a 5th-round pick from only two seasons ago, 2023, I don't know. He looked like a super prospect to me. He was right around 94 from the left side, which is above average left-handed velocity with good extension, incredible extension actually. Really good kick change, really good curveball, 2 different fastballs with distinct movements. Good news for the Sox fans. I got another guy here. Honestly, in a lot of ways, you look at him versus Peyton Tolley, kind of like Connolly early a little bit. I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit of a hot take. Peyton Tolley has the better fastball. You know, he's the bigger body. But in terms of the other pitches and the pitchability, I think Connolly, Mr. Early here, might have the early advantage in my mind. So we'll see if he gets another run through the Red Sox rotation. And we'll just see. We'll see how that all plays out. All right. Early just had such a sick mix. Is that, I can't, for some reason I can't see the last letter in that. Let's see. Yeah, mix. He did. He had a really good mix. Really good, actually. Which we can take a quick peek at for those who didn't watch the video at all. But yeah, I mean, the four seam for me had good extension, so it's going to play up a little bit from the number, and it averaged 94.2 in that first start, which is pretty good velo for a lefty. The curveball, I would say, is a plus pitch right now. Changeup definitely plus in my mind with the kick change, although who knows what the stuff metrics, I guess we'll check that in a second, what the stuff metrics will have to say about changeups. They tend to grade changeups odd. The slider cutter I wasn't enamored with, but I thought it was important. And then the sinker had heavy run. So he had the makings of 4 or 5 plus pitches, in my opinion. Actually, I'm curious what old Eno Saris and these Fangraphs metrics have to say about it. Did I just really just type in myself? Jeez, okay. I guess that's a habit. All right, Connolly early, stuff plus. So it has him as 4 pitches league average or above in terms of stuff. Has the 4 seam right at 100. Right at 100 being league average in this case. Then it has the sinker at 109. So this algorithm is buying into the excessive amount of arm side run that Connolly gets. I keep wanting to call him Connerly, but he's Connolly. I don't know. That he gets that the excessive amount of arm side movement that he gets at a sinker. They like that. They give that a 109. There's that slider cutter. That's the one below average pitch. I kind of knew that was going to grade out a little bit low. 87, and then it has the curveball as a 115 as his top pitch stuff-wise overall. It has the changeup as a 104, but for me, it was even higher than that, and I know changeups are a tough pitch on stuff grades. But I would agree with Mitch. I think he has maybe a better shot to stick a starter. It's a more traditional mix, and it's something that I talked about a little bit in the comments section yesterday of his video that I made. In the old days, they would draft arm talent and then they would kind of cross their fingers and hope that that player would learn from failure through the gauntlet of the minor leagues and somehow come out on top. As he progressed, would kind of just learn by failing and by experimenting and trial and error, and could maybe turn that arm talent into a complete pitcher over time just with experience. I think that was the old way of doing things. Now they draft guys sometimes that are already pretty good pitchers and have good pitchability and have solid results and track records at Division I colleges, and then they go ahead and they throw pitch design onto them and elite level training onto them. And I have a feeling that's kind of what happened with this Connolly Early guy. He was a 5th round pick, pitchability guy, played at Army for 2 years, Virginia for 1. I think he was more lower 90s coming out of the draft. That's why a guy like him drops to the 5th round. Then the Red Sox go ahead and throw some driveline style training on him, get that velocity pushed up to where you saw it yesterday, and all of a sudden it's cheat code because now not only does he have all of his skill set still remaining from before, but now he also has some power in the fastball to go along with it. And then on top of that, they're able to feed him additional pitch types. Now, I don't know what he came in with out of the draft. Maybe there's a way I can look into that, like his scouting reports, maybe for the draft or whatever. But we're not going to do that right now. But my point is, I know he didn't throw a kick change because it wasn't even invented yet. Or maybe it was just on the beginning of being invented. So kick change, the concept of the 2 fastballs. Maybe they've shown him some stuff with slider cutter grips, curveball grips, but at the end of the day, you take a guy who already has a really good feel for pitching and sequencing and reading hitters and doing the fundamentals right, throwing strike one and that sort of thing, and then you're able to throw stuff onto him. That's a superpower, and so it's interesting now how teams are kind of player developing guys sometimes in an opposite direction in which they used to. In the old days, if a guy was a pitchability 90-mile-an-hour guy, they would just say, oh, low ceiling. He's never going to reach it. They didn't have any means to make that guy throw harder or give him any additional weapons to the tool chest. That was sort of a trial and error and trial by fire type situation. But now that's not the case. We know how to throw every pitch. We can slap some new grips onto you, show you proof of concept on the TrackMan, give you a bunch of numbers to give you confidence in those pitches, and then you go out there and you throw them. And then on top of that, we definitely know how to make guys throw 2 or 3 miles an hour harder. Particularly if they've never tried to train velocity before. So do I love it? I don't know. But it's certainly making some monster rookie pitchers, and Connolly Early was the latest of those. So I'm glad we got to chat about him for a sec before we get into everything from last night. All right, quickly in the chat before I head over here to the standings. Yeah, Kyle Harrison, I am definitely going to watch him. We'll plug in and we'll see where he's got. He's another one of these approach angle type of arsenals. Lefty, kind of a low slot, big extension, I believe, kind of upshoot fastball, kind of similar to Peyton Tolley. So curious to watch what the Red Sox have him looking like at the present moment. I also see Peyton Tolley potentially being a relief beast, a guy coming in, spamming that fastball. Eventually, once he gains control of his own kick change, that's going to be a really plus pitch. But that fastball special, especially in short bursts where he can live in the upper 90s with it. So I see him maybe impacting the Red Sox the rest of the way, maybe more in that type of role. I know he was electric that first start, but you see, there's some polish there that needs to still be applied. All right, back over here, and we hit the standings after last night. All right. Blue Jays still 3 up on both the Yankees and the Red Sox. Yankees have had 2 back-to-back meltdown nights, so they lose to Detroit big again last night, and they don't gain any ground on Toronto. Detroit, they are now 9.5 up on Cleveland. They're like Philly now and some of these other teams. They're running away with it, so it's just a matter of time until they clinch now. Houston, 1 up on Seattle, who's now suddenly won 5 in a row. And right behind them is the Rangers, who have won 4 in a row and have played the best ball over the last 2 weeks. So this AL West race is spicy. I'm not sure how this plays out. You can make a case for all 3 of these teams to win this division, but it's fun. We're probably about 15 games left, and we get to see them race to the finish. NL East, put it to bed. It's been dead. Mets now just need to find their mojo at all, or they're going to get caught from behind in the wild card race. Milwaukee, 5.5 up on the Cubs. I still think that's kind of out of reach. Milwaukee's still looking for that 90th win. They just got swept by Texas, who needed those wins. So those are two teams in different places. But I know Milwaukee would like to go into the playoffs playing good baseball. And now the Dodgers are in a similar situation to the Phillies. Now, not to the same extent. This is only a 3-game lead. But they're in the process now of trying to win this division and try to put the Padres in the rearview mirror and set themselves up for the postseason. And that's a little bit of what we're going to talk about today. Is the Dodger situation at the present moment. Wild cards, Rangers 1.5 behind the Mariners. So both of those teams are hot. I don't see the Yankees or the Red Sox dropping out of this, but you never know. One thing that kind of helps both of them is they go head to head after this next series. It'll be Yankees, Red Sox, and Fenway. And, more than likely they'll split those games up. One team probably won't sweep the other team. And so they'll both kind of stay ahead. But we'll see. Texas 1.5 back playing good baseball. And in the National League, it's gotten more spicy. The Mets lose again. Reds win. Giants lose. Giants are effectively 3 back because of a tiebreaker. But the Reds are 2 back. Reds own the 2 back. So Reds own the tiebreaker on the Mets. So Mets are in deep doo-doo right now. They need to figure it out. They need to find some momentum. I watched their game last night. They looked not great. Not great energy-wise, confidence-wise. And then today, I know they're sending Peterson out there. Hopefully he can shove and they can salvage this last game of the series. Otherwise, they're going to be picking up the pieces as they head into their homestand. But, Reds won. A thriller. We'll also catch up on that. They came back on the pod. They beat the Padres now twice in a row. Beat the Padre bullpen. So there's a lot there. All right, so that's the standings. And then we're going to talk about little Dodgers here. We do have a quick update in the chat. Synergy Data, this is about our guy here, Connolly Early. Synergy Data has Early at UVA, fastball 90-92, curveball 77, sinker 80, changeup 80.7. And I do have something else to say about this style of being a so-called late bloomer. This is really what you want as a player. Now, it's hard. It's hard because that velocity number is just so tantalizing. You see the guys back there with the radar guns. You see the social media posts. So Striker Pence, 100 miles an hour, 16 years old. You see that type of stuff, and you feel like velocity is sort of your self-worth as a pitcher when you're a young pitcher in terms of the way the industry is going to look at you. But if you really think about it and you really watch how these things play out, you'd much rather be the guy who is good enough to play high-level baseball and be challenged, but be throwing 90-92 when you're in college, right? I think that's fundamentally a good place to be, because now you're developing the skill set that you're going to need ultimately in the major leagues, which is to be a complete pitcher. There's not going to be one-trick ponies anymore in the big leagues. There just isn't. The game's getting too good. The rules are starting to make it where the complete pitcher is favored, right? There's a 3 batter minimum now, so you can't just come in and be a righty specialist, lefty specialist. They're starting to limit the roster sizes, so now guys who can pitch multiple times through the order are going to be more prioritized. They're also going to get paid more money. So let's be honest, that's what every player wants. They want to get paid the most money through this sport. So guys are going to be chasing becoming complete pitchers, is my point. And if you want to become a complete pitcher, the easiest way to do it is to start becoming one at a young age, learning how to mix and match and sequence and read at bats and have change up and pitch to contact and all those types of things. And then when you get to the big leagues or to the minor leagues, you can go ahead and dive into the training and all the physical aspect of it, and boost your stuff up to where it needs to get velocity-wise. But I also think it's safer. If you're drafted as a 100-mile-an-hour pitcher out of the draft, I just don't know what you do from there, because now you're kind of a ticking time bomb to get hurt, and you don't really necessarily going to be given the grace to figure things out in the minor leagues, because they kind of want to get you up there while your arm talent still is what it is. So it's a very tricky formula right now. But if there are any kid pitchers watching this, don't give in to the pressure to chase velocity too soon. Develop the other skills. Remember that baseball is a skill sport at the end of the day. Throw multiple pitches for strikes, learn how to take care of yourself, stuff like that. But then the plus pitch ability, that is a learned thing now. You can go ahead and learn those skills. There's plenty of facilities, plenty of organizations that will do a great job helping you with that process, and let that be the finishing touches on you. I wouldn't chase it the other way around. Is there a pitcher you can think of in MLB that has no plus pitches but has plus pitch ability? That's tough. No plus pitches, like zero. I mean, most everybody in MLB is going to have at least a plus pitch. But if you're looking at just pitchability, I mean, shoot, Kyle Hendricks is still doing it. Trevor Williams, he's hurt right now, but a really good example of a guy with just incredible command. Doing it with the 88, 89, 90 mile an hour fastball. Granted, he uses his low slot. And he does a lot of different things to kind of like make up for the fact that he doesn't have stuff. But at the same time, yeah, most guys have plus stuff. But really, it's because it gets developed as you go. The goalposts are a lot more clear than they used to be. When I was coming up, it was like, he throws 95, but it's flat. But nobody knew what that meant. What does that mean? Like, or it has good run to it. But like, is run a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Like, we didn't know any of that. Now everything is so much more measured. So you can really say, oh, this is 3 inches above average at this speed relative to all other pitchers with my release angle, my release height. Like, now you can really compare apples to apples instead of just big general statements, and you just have to kind of imagine what they mean and then wait and see how it plays out in the games. I think now at least we have a little bit more to measure, and we can create a little bit more certainty, at least in our player plans and our path to becoming better players. Like, we can formulate better plans using this data. And to Mitch's point, Hendricks still has a plus changeup. So Synergy Data, that's just another company, another baseball data company, and they have a lot of data on college teams. So Mitch was able to pull that. That's where he grabbed that velocity from Connolly early at UVA. And then there's a question here from Ray Santos. Do you think the training today is affecting arms in regards to longevity? I think the key to longevity is learning how to obviously maintain your nastiness while also maintaining your health, and then also your ability to evolve year to year and to actually get better as your career progresses and close down potential areas of weakness and continue to build on your strengths and create other things that are strengths. That's the only real path to longevity. No matter how good you are, even if you can stay healthy, if you can't evolve and get better as you go, you're probably going to hit a brick wall. And if you can evolve but you can't stay healthy, then obviously you can't play if you can't stay healthy. And if you can't maintain your physical gifts to some extent through hard work and understanding the physical side of things, then you're going to deteriorate really fast. And that's going to all affect that second part, that health part. So all of that stuff plays into, I guess, the overall, hot topic of longevity in baseball. But it's also, if you think about just like the reward system in baseball in terms of how people get paid, the most surplus value you're bringing to an organization is when you're young and they can pay you the league minimum. Like a guy like Paul Skeens right now is getting paid the league minimum, like $750,000 for this year, but he's providing like $40 million worth of value to the Pirates in terms of surplus value on the field. So that's when you're worth the most to these teams. And ultimately, when that equation flips and the player's starting to get paid, like Frankie Montas this year, like $25 million or whatever it is, 15, 18, 19, 20 million. I don't know what he's getting paid, but double-digit millions. And then now he's not going to play really this season, and he's not going to play next season. Now that dynamic has completely flipped, and teams would much rather be on the other side of that, right? They'd much rather get the free value as opposed to the value that you just take a lighter to. So, I don't know if that answers your question. Ooh, this is a good comment from Jumpgate Customs. Would be cool to see you do a video breakdown on a pitcher who didn't have all the data, like a Maddox. Be interesting to see their pitch stats, etc. Yeah, that would be really cool if we could somehow go back in time and grab all that data, and we probably won't be able to. But I'm working on getting much deeper video for this program. I'm working on getting video at least back to 2016 and maybe even further back. I've been talking with MLB and with a couple of video guys that I used to work with on different teams about just how to get that, because I know it exists at least digitally probably since 2008, 2009. So we should be able to get quite a bit of some players. We could watch some studs from those times and see kind of how the game might have changed, because actually be able to watch some of those innings in rapid succession, I feel like would definitely inform a little bit of the differences of the game then and the game now, and would make us smarter baseball fans. All right, and then we have a question. How many pitches until your arm would usually hurt, assuming most guys are different? Zero idea on that. I'm not a big pitch count person. Your arm hurting, your arm should never be hurting when you're pitching, right? Or when you're throwing. Now, we all know that that's not reality. That's stuff that you're going to feel things as you grow up. It's just like as you get older, you figure out how to make yourself feel better and better, and how to rest and how to recover and how to train yourself and armor yourself, if you will, to be able to handle the workload that you're going to ask it for. Ooh, and then we have top 3 pitchers in history you wish you could get StatCast data on. Oof. All right. Well, Nolan Ryan, because he's just like a myth more than anything else. I think that would be very cool to know a little bit more about Nolan Ryan. You know, the alleged over 100-mile-an-hour fastballs. Like, it'd be cool to see like what he had working for him. I think Pedro Martinez would be great. I'd love to know that changeup metric. I'd love to know basically what he's been working with, because he was so far head and shoulders better than everybody else during those seasons, during his big time. I mean, really his whole career, but like, just go ahead and look at this time frame right here. Maybe switch over to the main screen. This is Pedro Martinez's page. If you look at 1999 and 2000, where he put up a 9.8 WAR and an 11.7 WAR, he had a 1.74 ERA in 2000. That was so much better than the league average. I think the league average was in the 4s that year. So I would love to see that. Koufax would be a good one. Sandy Koufax, because he was another one that, even though he got hurt and didn't play as long as other guys, he was so far head and shoulders above everybody these last 5 years of his career. Well, really the last 4 years of his career: 1.88, 1.74, 2.04, 1.73, and all 4 of those years, well, 3 out of the 4, he threw over 300 innings. So he'd be a fun one. Brandon Webb's a good one. Yeah, Brandon Webb would be a really good one. Jeez. Hold on. Brett! I think my wife... Did you just order something? Did you order a phone? We did get to see Pedro in 03 when he had a 2.22 ERA. Obviously, it ended poorly, but man, this year was incredible. That is true. Pedro was great the whole way through. I mean, anybody that's around our age, my age, 39, loved this dude. He was incredible. Yeah, here's that 2003 season when we were at Northeastern. Did you order a phone?
A phone?
Yeah, an Apple iPhone?
No.
Because I got a text about that.
That's not real.
Yeah, but it was also a phone call involved, so that's why it got me confused.
I don't order a phone without telling you I'm ordering a phone.
Oh, no, it's a voicemail. It's a voicemail. All right, anyway.
It says potential...
Yeah, it's a scam. Everybody's saying it's a scam.
It says potential scam. You're publicly blasting me?
Well, I know you need a new phone, so I just thought maybe that was what was going on.
They're asking you to authorize the payment for $9.99.
No, I didn't know. I saw a text, and obviously I'm streaming, so...
What was the text?
It wasn't a text. It was the voicemail that was then digitally written down, so I got confused.
I hope everyone is witnessing. You not only...
Well, at least I asked. I didn't just send it through.
A scam, but...
I'm not getting bamboozled, chat. That's not happening.
Me of randomly ordering a phone.
I'm not accusing. I was asking.
But I also do need a new phone.
I know you do. Hi, Arch. All right, so yeah, there's Pedro. Pedro would be a great one. Eric Gagne would have been a good one.
Daddy's yelling at me in front of everybody.
I'm yelling? I yelled for you to...
Ask them if you yelled.
Did I have a bad tone?
No.
Chat?
It wasn't a bad tone.
I know I yelled to get her attention.
I'm watching your show. It was double yelling.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I heard you from the room
All
and
right.
on the phone.
All right, we got to get back on track. We got to get back.
So glad they all witnessed this.
We got to get back on track. Yeah, the Brandon Webb sinker is a good one. Obviously, Lincecum would have been good. It was just loud. Okay. Yeah, classic. Sleeping on the couch? Never, 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 never. I am the couch. They need me. My wife, I'm the cozy. You know what else was loud? Chapman blowing that game last night. Well, you knew he was going to give up a run at some point, right? He hadn't given up a hit in like 50 batters. So, all right. So what I came here to talk about initially today, yes, I am the guy on the couch. I have always been the guy on the couch. That goes back to college. People in the chat, I was literally a guy on the couch for a whole year. And pitched well. Oh, Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth, my dad says, chiming in as his pitch metrics. Or like Walter Johnson, Christy Mathewson, really old. Steve Carlton, that slider. Bert Blyleven, that curveball. I feel like there's a lot of answers to this question. How about Tim Wakefield, knuckleball? I would love to get some metrics on that. All right. So what I came to talk about initially today was this Dodgers game last night. I know they played the Rock Show, who are not exactly a Juan Marichal, great one. I know they played the Rock Show, who aren't exactly inspirational this year. But at the same time, the Dodgers are starting to show some signs. They're starting to show some signs that they are the team that had like 102 win over-under this year on their betting line. Their pitchers are all getting healthy. They've now had, I believe, 6 really, really good starts in a row on the mound. It starts with 2 guys that almost threw no-hitters, Glasnow and Yamamoto. Kershaw had a scoreless start. Shohei looked as good as he's looked all year. And then Blake Snell last night, 6 innings, 2 hits, 2 walks, 11 strikeouts. So we'll watch some of that. Michael Kopech, welcome back. He did have 3 walks in 4 batters. But good to have him back. He's going to be important if they're going to be able to bullpen and mix and match their way through the playoffs again, like they did last year. Side note on Michael Kopech, in Game 6 of the NLCS last year when the Dodgers eliminated us when I was with the Mets, obviously I wasn't on the roster, so I sat and watched the first 2 innings of that game from the dugout before returning for rally beers and things like that, trying to get the boys going. And I watched Michael Kopech because he started that game. And I watched him from 40, 50 feet away. And he has one of the most violent, powerful freaking deliveries I have ever seen. And in person, you can feel it. It is powerful, and he is throwing noise. So get him right. That's another possible weapon for them. Vesia, Yates. They need to get Yates going as well. Banda, who was a big piece for them last year. And then another big development from this game, and this has been going on for a little bit, is Mookie. 4 for 5 last night, 5 RBIs, climbing the season OPS up to 737, but 4 hard hit balls. Mookie is vital for this team, and really that's the formula. I just laughed at something in the chat. I'll just read it in a second. That's the formula for the Dodgers, is the star players play like stars. So it's the 5 stars that they have in the rotation. It's the star relievers they have, like Tanner Scott, Kirby Yates, etc. And it's the big 3. And really there's more than 3, but it's really the big 3. The Shohei, Mookie, and Freddie. And the whole year, Freddie's been Freddie, Shohei's been Shohei, Mookie has not been Mookie. So we're going to watch the 4 hits from Mookie today, and then maybe I'll dive in a little bit to see what he's been doing lately, and then we'll watch Blake Snell. But let's head over to our first game of the day, 30 minutes in here. Rock Show and the Dodgers. So first we'll watch Mookie hit. So Mookie gets 4 knocks, and what I laughed about in the chat was Mitch saying that Freeland gave up hard hits like Oprah. And then I looked down at the thing here, and I just saw how many there were, and like that's like when my son hits the emoji button on my phone too many times. Anyway. Ooh, we have a little info from Spectre Edits before we dive in here. I love that. Thank you. I love this info. Dodgers haven't been in this form since April. As a fan of this team, I've seen this all, but the panic among the fan base is almost more after winning the World Series than years before. I agree. I mean, expectations change everything. I lived this as a Yankee fan growing up. we didn't have those expectations. There was a hope, there was a desire, right? But when they broke through in '96 and then hammered it home in '97, by the time we got to '98, it was now expected, right? And that really screwed up the Yankee fan base and made them a little cuckoo in the coconut, because then they win 3 more and it really screwed them up. So now it's 4 World Series in 5 years and you think this is normal. Then you don't win one until 2009. But that whole time, the Yankees had a lot of great teams through that stretch. They just didn't get the final, the final victory of the season. But it was a failure. It was a failure. It was negative. It was brutal. It was get everybody out of town. It was back up the truck. But again, the expectations changed the feeling in the fan base. So this year, I mean, shoot, I thought the Dodgers were going to win 120 games when I saw their roster. So I get it. It's a little weird in the fan base for sure. Dodgers clearly built this team and played the regular season for the tournament. I agree with that too. It's one of the reasons why I think they were always signing guys like Joe Kelly, high upside guys, dudes that can shut people down in the playoffs. But they know they're going to be hurt, for most of the year, and then they're going to be able to get them ready just in time for the playoffs. So they're doing this again, and we'll see if it works. And now we're going to look at Mookie. Mookie changed his swing from a lift to a line drive swing, and the results are outstanding. He met with J.D. Martinez, and I think it was actually in Florida. He says in Boston here in the chat, but I think it was in Florida. And since then, it's been Mookie we all know and love. And yes, Julio, Daniel, Martinez is the swing doctor, especially for Mookie. Great friends. Those guys are great friends, obviously longtime teammates in Boston. And I'm hoping to get JD on here and talk hitting at some point, because he's the guy. He's the most prepared hitter I have ever been around. Him, Charlie Blackmon, but those two are second, are really in a different class of preparation. And I'd love to get his thoughts. But line drive swing, I love that. So let's watch Mookie versus Kyle Freeland. All right, taken all the way.
And at least 2 runs in a season, or excuse me, a career best 4 consecutive games. Good breaker from Freeland.
Backdoor curveball there. Now they're going to try to come in.
Betts is popped up, waiting at first.
So they don't catch this, and this is going to be a hit.
Former Dodger. It's a drop in between him and Arcia.
I don't even know what to say about that, so we're just going to move forward. All right, next at bat.
A ball inside on Mookie.
I've always felt like Mookie Betts' superpowers at the plate are pitch selection, ability to not chase, and also the fact that he's kind of a smaller guy, and he's typically quick inside. So there's an example of being quick inside there. I always felt like middle in was kind of a no-fly zone to Mookie, middle in the zone. The home run that I gave up to Mookie was on a backup cutter that was supposed to be away, kind of ran middle in. This is when he was on Boston. So when I was facing Mookie, and I think everybody feels this way, righties, lefties, and everybody, they feel like this outside corner, you're pretty good on it. If you just live out there. Now, at worst, he's going to be able to get a hit. He doesn't have any opposite field power to speak of. All the pop, all the danger zone. Is going to come, in this down quadrant. And then he also has some ability to hit this up in as well. And if he cheats to it, he can get to here. So it's a lot larger of a red spot than it is a blue spot. So you have to kind of live on the outer edge. But this year it kind of flipped a little bit. I think he was maybe trying to do a little too much. Swing got a little out of whack, popped up a lot of balls, gave pitchers the ability to attack him a little more. But it's good to see, and important for the Dodgers, that he's back whacking pitches like this on the inner third. Very quick inside. And I do think that there is a pocket of opportunity for smaller right-handed hitters, really smaller left-handed hitters as well, in that they're a little tricky to pitch to. When I face Alex Bregman or a Mookie Betts or Jose Altuve, for example, just the first 3 guys that pop into my head, you just don't feel like you have as much strike zone to work with. Also, those guys tend to understand that their power is all to the pull side. So they end up becoming very, very proficient at beating you out front with the bat head. Also, they've seen a lot of high pitches in their career, so the high pitch doesn't have the same effect on them as it does to a taller player with longer arms. Usually a shorter player also has those smaller arms, allowing them to have a little more room to breathe on inside pitches. They don't mess themselves up by overextending on inside pitches. So I do think there's a little bit of a hidden ability to be small and to be really effective up there at the plate. The downside, obviously, is you can't just touch it and take out, hit homers to the opposite field like a Paul Goldschmidt or an Aaron Judge or a Tatis or, you name it. But the T-Rex arms can be a very good thing at the plate, particularly if you know how to use them. And we're going to watch the swing for a third time, but he is just so on time for this pitch. Turns it around. So there's a double. Let's see the third at bat. It's a first pitch single. They try to go away. And he's just all over that. That ball leaked middle a little bit, I guess. He was very passive the first two at bats early on, but this at bat he's ready. Definitely on time. Being on time is a big deal. And then he's going to get out. So we'll watch him get out. We'll watch all his at bats. Curveball away. I mean, he gets screwed there. That's a ball. Ball up. So it should be 2-0. So he goes out and hits this ball actually pretty good. 98.7 on a line. Doesn't get anything for it, but I bet he feels pretty good about that swing, and that leads us to this at-bat where he goes grand slam. Same pitcher. Fastball off the corner away. Slider away. Ooh, 3-0. I like the confidence, the 3-0 swing, and if you notice, he peaks right in the dugout here. What do you think? What do you think he's looking at right here? You think he's looking at Dave Roberts right here? I think he is. I think he's saying 3-0. Maybe it's time to let it fly. This is the only count in the big leagues. You know you're getting a fastball. Here it comes. Oof. Bat path. Beautiful. And those are his homers. He often jokes, likes to be self-deprecating about his home runs. Oh, they're always 1 foot over the fence. But you know what? Home runs are home runs. And he was on time and did not miss that pitch. Yes, it was an absolute meatball, but, it's a good place to be. A confident Mookie Betts is going to be huge for this team. And I just know that he's got a little something. He's got a little something brewing for the playoffs. There's no way he's going to not get red hot at some point. Now, it could be right now. But there's just no way. He's too damn good. All right, notice he pulled every damn one of those balls because that's where his power is going to be. All right, now quickly I want to check. Let's see. I want to check his splits and just see how it's been going lately. Or if this was just a one-off. I do feel like I've seen some more positivity out of Mookie lately in the box score. Splits. All right. Yeah, I mean, post All-Star break, he's got an 815 OPS. He was 696 prior. And in September, he's been red hot. So it's just started to come around. He was 762 in August. I bet that did pick up, according to the good quote by Jumpgate earlier. I believe that was Jumpgate. About him meeting with JD. That happened sometime in August, and then it does look be the case. One quick meeting, one little quick fix. JD knocked some sense into this guy's brain, and now he's got a 1200 OPS through the first 9 games in September. So if he keeps this up, maybe there'll be a before and after video that will have to be made. But this is a huge development for the Dodgers, getting Mookie Betts going right. Hold on. They need him really, really badly. If we go to their team expected stats on the hitting side, it was kind of sad to see where he had been, but he's starting to creep back into that league average category, 340. So Shohei, Muncy, Will Smith, and Freddie are the 4 above average hitters. Teoscar's dropped off quite a bit, as has Pages, but I think getting Edman back, Edman's another one who has a pretty good chance to maybe come back and impact this team in a positive way. Tommy Edman, let's not forget, NLCS MVP last year, switch hitter, line drive hitter, annoying guy to face. So the Dodgers have a chance to do a very funny thing, and that's make their fan base panic the entire year and then basically just run through the playoffs. All right, let's watch Blake Snell a little bit in this game because he shoved. And he's one of my favorite pitchers. You know what? I don't think I want to watch the whole game, though. Let's just watch him strike dudes out. How about that? Jordan Beck, 3-pitch strikeout. Let's watch it. Fastball. Doubles up on the heater. And he's going to triple up on the heater. See if he gets it way up. Well, here's an example of going from most hittable to least hittable in an at-bat. Let's check where all these pitches are. If this is the first pitch of the at-bat, it's pulled down in. In a perfect world, that's probably where Jordan Beck would like to see a pitch, would like to swing, but he was taken there. Then the second pitch is a little more up and away. That plays a little bit more to his backspin. But then this third pitch, he's like, all right, you gave me room to throw a third fastball, and I don't have to throw it for a strike. So now he gets that chase up and away. So 3 pitches, they all go in this diagonal order from most hittable to least hittable. So that's always a good strategy. What is Blake Snell's extension? 6.7 on this fastball. 6.7 on all the fastballs. To tell you the truth, that's more than I expected, Jumpgate. Because he has what looks like to me a relatively short stride. All right, let's see Tovar. He's going to get him with a curveball. And I love Blake Snell's curveball. I talked about it a little bit the last time we watched Blake pitch. But the thing that I love about his curveball the most is just the fact that he has a very high arm slot, as you can see here. So the ball never has a chance to hump. You see the way this ball tracks out? It just already starts trending downward out of the hand. There's none of this going on. There's no hump going on. So I'll actually show you how that looks on the 3D, and you'll get a better idea of the pitch trail. But that's why I think his curveball's so good and why it tunnels so well with a high fastball. You can't tell any difference in the first few feet coming out, whereas most guys, if they have a lower slot, the ball has to come up to then come back down on the curveball, so it's a lot more of a dead giveaway. On top of that, he's also really good at landing it in the perfect spot, the kill spot, which is that spot right behind home plate. I demonstrate this almost every day, but again, if you're a kid out there and you want to strike batters out, practice throwing a curveball, changeup, splitter, breaking ball, off-speed pitch, anything, and one-hop your catcher. Make it look like a strike, and then hit the ground. A lot of swings at those pitches. All right, changeup. Changeup's going to be responsible for strikeout number 3. Nice pitch. Gets him fishing down and away. So 3 strikeouts, 3 different pitch types. Here is strikeout number 4. 4-seam. Gets the call. Where's Snell on the rubber? So he's another one that is on third base side of the rubber. This creates a little bit of a left to right angle for his fastball to be boring in on guys. So this seems to be a very common setup when your best pitches besides your fastball are breaking balls, because this gives you more room to work with your fastball angle as well as your breaking ball angle going that way. And you don't really have to worry too much about keeping changeups or sinkers on the plate. He does have a changeup, but he doesn't typically worry about it running too much. He just tries to strike it. So that's a good strategy for that. And he gets the called strike 3 there. See the next strikeout, Jordan Beck again. Curveball. Another one to the back foot and in the ground. Beautiful pitch. Got some stats coming in the chat about Mookie while we watch this. 385 batting average, 821 slugging, 1221 OPS, 15 RBIs. That's in September, right? Yeah, 9 games. Really good. Extension 7 foot on the curveball for Blake. Here's Kyle Karros. Another curveball, probably in the same spot. Yep, so we've seen 3 curveball strikeouts to righties from Blake. Where have they all been located? In the dirt. Here's a fastball. 20 on the vert on this, so that's why you're going to get that down freeze. They think that pitch is going to be down. You know, he doesn't like to throw fastballs down, but then when he does accidentally, Frozen. That was Braxton Fulford. And then here's Orlando Arcia, who I forgot was on the Rock Show. Curveball, dirt.
Got him swinging at a ball in the dirt.
Another good pitch.
Back-to-back punch-outs to...
So since I did the pod, Mookie's been raking, so we'll take some credit, I guess. And then here's the last two strikeouts. Jordan Beck for the third time. This is going to be a changeup.
Here's his 100th pitch of the game. Strike 3.
I don't know what he was looking for, but changeup, see ya. And then Brenton Doyle will be the last punchy on a curveball. I bet it's in the dirt.
His 104th pitch is
Shocker. Great pitch. So if you have a high release angle, if you're a guy who throws pretty far over the top, it's especially important for you to learn how to drop your curveball below the zone, because you're not going to have that hump. Let's go back to this game so I can show you something. Blake Snell. Pitch types. We're just going to go four seam and curveballs. All right. This is a very good illustration. When you look from the side, they both come out virtually in the same bands, right? They're all just kind of jumbled. So they're coming out from the same height. You don't see any hump on that curveball. I don't see any upward action at all, right? That is the true difference maker for his curveball. It doesn't get given away right away, but then you see how the height difference ends up at the end. Look where all these curveballs ended up. Outside of one misfire over here, the rest of these are down here in the dirt. Or at bottom of the zone, or dirt balls. And then these fastballs, they come out of that same tunnel and they just explode to this up and away quadrant. How do I get all these blinking lights off? All right, so that's basically the trick. And I think that is really hard to cover if you're a hitter. You know, it's not like he throws slow. Spencer Edits asks, I'm going into work, but I'll come back later. But I want to ask about the two near no-hitters when they pitch. The catcher, Ben Rortvedt, pitchers credit him a lot. Is the difference pitch calling? Why? It's a good question. I believe Yamamoto calls his own game for the most part. So maybe there was something about the preparation that he liked or the targeting. Glasnow, though, I'm pretty sure Rortvedt was probably calling all those pitches. So maybe he just really liked the way that he was calling the game. And they were in a great rhythm together. But I think it's always important for a pitcher to credit their catcher. Catchers put in a ton of work for us as pitchers, and it's important to always give them credit when credit is due. So good job by the Dodgers doing that. Now I'm curious here what the changeup looks like off that fastball. So here's the effect of the Blake Snell changeup. Looks like it does come out generally a little bit lower, but also just look at the locations. Everything to the arm side and a big cluster right there dotted on the down and away corner. That's a really good pitch. And that's why this guy's won 2 Cy Youngs. It's pretty funny when your number, I don't even know what number starter he'd be considered for the Dodgers, but it's pretty funny because he's got 2 Cy Youngs. So I'd say Yamamoto's probably the ace, and then I would put Snell number 2, but I mean, dude, they got a lot of dudes. Shohei, Glasnow. And then here's the sliders, these yellows. And slider used to be a bigger part of his game back in the day. It's just a harder version. But he can kind of get you to all different parts of the strike zone. And again, I just think that his arm angle lends itself really, really, really well to tunneling that curveball and four seam. Yeah, what's his arm angle at? 56 degrees. Wonder how high that is relative to everybody else. So he's way down here. He is tied with Kershaw and Jack Dreyer, and there's only 3 guys that are qualified that are above him. Cameron, Parker, and Vesia in arm angle. Yeah, so if you can't pick up the spin, you're toast. And it's hard because a 4-seam and a curveball have mirrored spins. And what I mean by that is this is a 4-seam spin, backspin, and this is a curveball spin. Like there's no like difference in necessarily orientation. It's just one spinning topspin, one spinning backspin. And when that's happened at a really fast rate, which I can't really demonstrate very well right now, but when it's happened at a really fast rate, you can't really tell which way it's going. It's like if you ever looked at a wheel going by on a car and it's going really fast, and sometimes it gives you that weird optical illusion, like it almost looks like the rim is traveling backwards. I know we've all seen that. I think that's a similar effect to the hitter, and that's why we talk about spin mirroring sometimes with pitches, and nothing spin mirrors better than 4-seam and curveball. And Blake Snell has those, so that makes them really, really, really effective. What else do we have here? How often do pitchers call their own game or feel confident enough to do so? How does a good pitching coach decide what to let a pitcher do relative to managing situationally? So I think I think we fail a lot of our pitchers, especially young pitchers, in that when they go to college, coaches go out there and they call the game for them, and they never really give them a chance to learn or have to think through any of those decisions. And then you get to pro ball, and they always let the pitcher dictate everything, but usually then if the guy's not confident, he'll just say, I'll just throw whatever the catcher throws. And I never liked that approach as a pitcher personally, because I felt like then if I struggle, maybe it's because of what the catcher's calling and I'm not getting to learn anything through that process. And also I was a little bit of a control freak when it came to my pitching, so I wanted to win or lose on my own terms. I think a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people like to just be target hitters. I know I played with a guy, Boone Logan, who could not shake. Obviously, Chris Sale is famously never shaken. Mark Burley never shook. So it's not a bad plan if that's your style of pitching, where you just want to work fast and execute pitches, and you're basically like, I'll trust the catcher until it doesn't work, and then I'll swap him out for a new catcher. I also think now with the pitch comm, it's changed the dynamic a little bit because guys have pitch comms on their gloves now or on their belts or strapped on their arms or something, so guys can actually dictate the calls initially from the mound, from the rubber, whereas before everything had to be run through the catcher. So now you can completely circumvent the catcher if you want to. Like if you watch a Chris Bassett pitch, he's calling every single pitch from the mound. Catcher has no say in it at all. He's just telling the catcher where to set up. I personally have tried both approaches. I thought it was good to have the buzzer on me, the clicker on me, because like say I wanted to throw a changeup to a righty, and the pitch clock's sort of winding down. A lot of times the catcher wouldn't be able to press the proper button fast enough to get to that. He'd be thinking slider, sinker, or 4-seam or something, and I just hit it right away, like, hey, I want to change up here. That way we don't have to deal with any problems, and I don't have to rush with the pitch clock bearing down on me as the burden to pitch starts to become real. So that's kind of, I guess, the short answer, the abbreviated answer to that question. All right. We'll head back over here to the main screen. This was all arm angle, leaderboard stuff. Was there anything else from the Dodger game that we should note? Maybe a little bit. Kopech came in and walked 3 dudes, but I just want to see where the velocity's at. 97.3. This guy's just a fire-breathing dragon out there. You can just feel it. Look at that beard. He really embraces it. It's crazy he was ever really a starter. He breathes reliever. Now 94.8 is kind of poopy for him. Cutter was his nasty pitch last year too. Dodgers gave him a great cutter. There it is. 98 with 20 inches of vert, 7.2 inches of horizontal, 6.8 inches of extension, and just a lot of testosterone. He's going to be a big part of this bullpen and come playoffs. Well, at least they hope he is.
Heartbeat after foot strike. Another 3-2. Grounded to
So that's the one out he got, just chucking fastballs. Then he obviously got into some control issues and walked a few dudes. How did Kirby look last night? Kirby is the 4-seam split combo. Nice. Hey, babe. Did you make something?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love it. What colors did you use?
Water.
Oh, water.
It's a Buddha board.
This is a Buddha board? I love it. Great job. There you go. Great job, baby.
Awesome.
You're the best.
Ready to go read some? You want to leave it there?
Did he eat?
Kind of.
Kinda.
Okay, come. Let's go play.
All right, let's get back to the chat before we look at another game. Do you think any players would pay attention to that? If a pitcher only goes to the pitch count for certain pitches, like if I saw you go to the pitch count, I might expect a secondary pitch changeup. Maybe, but I think they have enough going on in their own mind. It would be really hard to catch that tip. Somebody would have to watch an awful lot of your games to figure that out. But yeah, if they have that information, I could see that being another way to tip. There's so many ways to tip your pitches now, which makes it hard too. Actually, the clock plays into that too. There's so much. It's become a big part of the game. It's trying to figure out what's coming. Yeah, he does look like he could fight a bear. And another guy had to get out of the White Sox. Yeah, it's kind of sad. Kind of related to this conversation, are there any specific traits or skills to make a catcher good to work with from a pitcher's point of view? Sure, yeah, absolutely. Number one, it's the intelligence and the personality. Nowadays in the big leagues, there's so much bandwidth that's required to play catcher. Just way too much. So if you're not smart, it's going to be difficult to problem solve constantly throughout a game, and also to juggle the 12 to 20 pitchers you might work with, in a 2-month span. And believe me, every pitcher needs something different. But in a physical level, I think if you can't be above average throwing arm now, it's going to be really hard for you because that's the game now. There's so much more stealing. So that's a new layer, whereas before that was probably the lowest on the totem pole of catcher physical skills was throwing arm. I think that's moved up a little bit. Framing can largely be taught, like the different moves, but there's still an innate ability associated with that as well, like just anticipation, strong wrists, feel for that sort of thing, ability to deal with umpires. But I also thought, beyond the physical skills, we look at pop times here, JT Realmuto, Andy Rodriguez, and then I'll cycle through some catcher blocking leaders. Alejandro Kirk's number one in that. Like, all these stats are important. Like, these things matter, but what also really matters is just the genuine desire within a catcher to have his pitchers succeed. I think is huge, and it's very palpable. And pitchers love it when they feel a catcher be really personally invested in your success out there. I just think that's one of the most important things, is really understanding how to connect with your pitcher and how to get them to perform at top level. But yeah, you look at some of these leaders. I mean, blocking, it's been poo-pooed a lot by the analytics community, but it's still important in big moments. And it's interesting always to watch who's good at the blocking. Alejandro Kirk way ahead of the pack this year. Let's see who's winning right now in framing. Current number one framer, Patrick Bailey, and Kirk number 2. So Kirk's a hell of a player. He can hit, he can block, he can frame. I bet he can even throw a little bit. Bailey's incredible at throwing. This is framing. This is something we looked at a couple weeks ago, and I was curious to see if there was anybody who was good at both framing the shadow top and shadow bottom zones, these two, because they kind of well, I can't really zoom in. Yeah, I can. Because they kind of fly in each other's face, being really good at snatching from the bottom, being really good from snatching top down. But Patrick Bailey pulls it off. He's +7 on the top, +6 on the bottom. Whereas like Kirk is incredible on the bottom, +8. He's only +1 on the top. Austin Wells, who's third best by this metric, is +11 on the bottom, -5 on the top. So it's really hard to do both. Just wanted to point that out while we were here. Anyway, great question in the chat from EG. I appreciate that. But from a pitcher, yeah, you just want somebody who's going to grind for you and care for you and make you look good out there, The last game the Yankees won, Wells made one of the best plays I've seen from a catcher. Oh. That's good. All right, let's watch the Reds make a comeback. They had a good comeback. Well, not a comeback, but they had a pretty good rally, contact hitting rally versus the Padres. And they are now 2 games behind the Metros. 2 games behind the Metros. Not many games left, so it's getting interesting. It was F. Morejon. Now, this guy's been leading the entire major leagues in Fangraphs WAR for relievers, so he's been amazing. But he gets beat here. Ellie De La Cruz. Let's watch this inning and how they do this. He came in 1-0 man on second to face Ellie. Immediately throws 99 mile an hour fastball in, and then 98 sinker in, gets the call. This guy's nasty. Comes another sinker and dotted. So 4 seam in, 2 front door sinkers back to back. I think Ellie's in deep doo-doo with this at bat, so I'm curious how he digs out of it. Sticking with that sinker. Wow, this time he kind of anticipates it in. Great slide here by Friedel to tie it up. So this is a hustle play, contact play. Interesting that the Padres decided to triple up on the sinker in here. Man, so much happened on this pitch. We have to look at everything here. Okay, so man on second, it's TJ Friedel. He's fast. So a single, you know you're going to get a close play at the plate. You also have to be aware of the fact that Tatis has a bazooka from right field. He's the one who ends up getting this pitch. So this is the 3rd pitch in a row, 4th pitch in a row in, but the 3rd sinker in a row. It's freaking 99 miles an hour. He locates it up and in. This is actually a really good pitch, generally well protected. But for some reason, they have the second baseman, Cronenworth, pinched way up the middle here. So there's a huge hole. Ellie kind of somehow gets the barrel to it because he does still hit it. 101.3, which if you're jammed, you probably wouldn't. But he shoots it to right, setting up a great play at the plate here. Tatis comes flying in, throws a freaking pill to the plate. But Friedel got a good jump off second, gets the hand in there for the safe. Now let's go ahead and look at the high home. I'm curious what we can see from Friedel. Ooh, really good reaction. Really efficient route to the plate. And a really good slide. He had to do everything right on the base paths here to score with Tatis's arm. So Friedel's out here. He's going to take a secondary lead, and you see the ball's hit, and he is gone. We'll watch that in real time so you get a sense of the jump. Here he comes. Cuts the corner pretty good. Tatis, I mean, this was a great throw by Tatis. Perfect throw. Arguably a perfect throw. But doesn't get him. Great slide. Great freaking slide. Wonder if we have enough time on here to see the play at the plate. No. I hate how they cut these clips off early. It'd be fun if you could watch a play at the plate from this angle. Guess you can see it from center field, maybe? No. All right, so that's how they tie it. Then we got an intentional walk of Austin Hayes, which is interesting. And then a Miguel Andujar, who hadn't played, I guess, in 5 days. And he comes up and gets a first pitch. Little blooper into the no man's land. Here comes Laureano. He can't field it. Ellie scores easily as he's running on contact with 2 outs. And the Reds kind of small ball their way, single their way into a 2-1 lead on the Padres. Pivetta had shoved this whole game for the Padres. Turns it over to Morejon. Like I said, he's been one of the best relievers in the game. But they're not able to hold on to it there. So, great job by the Pods. Santillan pitched the 9th. Abbott went a full 8 innings, 1 run. So big shout out to Andrew Abbott. This is how he finishes his outing. Let's see his last pitch. Change up here to Machado. So big time outing from Andrew Abbott when they really, really needed it. And then Santillan, Tony, gives up a first at-bat double here to Gavin Sheets. And he's still able to lock down the save. So let's see how he does that. This is high quality, pressure-filled leverage relief pitching here. All right, so man on second, no outs. Let's watch the whole shebang here. Laureano's the first one up. Goes right at him with the fastball. Now he's going to go to the slurve. Off away. This guy's quietly been pretty good for the Reds lately. Ooh, and then blows him up with the fastball up in. Gets the infield pop-up. Those are as good as strikeouts. So that's very nice. Very important out here. Maintaining now Iglesias, who's pinch running at second base. Jackson Merrill. Oof. Just about as dangerous of a pitch as I've ever seen. But somehow Jackson Merrill is under it for strike one. So sometimes you get away with one. Let's see what he goes here on the 0-1. He's going to double up fastball. This time he gets it up and away. Merrill hit this one pretty good. But the marine layer maybe held it up there, or a little topspin on that. 104.8 at 24. I feel like that has a shot to get out sometimes. He certainly liked the swing off the bat. Yeah, I'm sensing a little bit of topspin on that ball. I wish they would have spin data on this hit data, but that gets them to man on third and 2 out situation, 1 out away. And let's see this at bat versus Johnson. Fastball in, barely gets the strike. 95 up, so maybe something's starting to go right for the Reds. Yeah, triple fastball up. Oof, what a good feeling on the mound when you get that final strike and you lock down a save in a big moment. Passion right here. I love this. Let's watch him. Oh, baby. That's what it's all about. Been working 8 months for this. 7 months? Yeah, I was sick. So, huge win by the Reds. They find a way. They have a little Tito magic, for sure. They win 2-1. Padres need these games too. They still have plans on winning the NL West, but they end up losing both of these games. The vaunted Padre bullpen, who in my opinion is the best bullpen in the big leagues, loses both of these games. Is what it is. But great job by the Reds. Good contact hitting, good base running. It's one thing that they do have in spades is speed. Friedel's really fast. De La Cruz is really fast. Hayes is somewhat fast. I think Benson's somewhat fast. McLean is fast. Steer might have a little speed. I don't know about Marte, but they got some speed on the bases, so that's how they're going to win. That's how they're going to try to win down the stretch. And big credit to Abbott and Santillan for getting the job done. He just stuck with his fastball, and he made some good pitches there at the end, even though he definitely got away with 2 pitches to Merrill. So great job by the Reds. All right, what else? Let's see here. Yeah, so the A's did come back on Aroldis. The first runs he gave up all year. Rangers sweep the Brewers. So we want to look at the Mariners walk-off last night. Mariners versus Cardinals. So this game went to 13 innings, I believe. This pretty much put a nail in the Cardinals' coffin, I think. But big win for the Mariners. So this game did go into the 13th. We'll skip right ahead to the walk-off here. Arozarena line out. Ryan Fernandez intentionally walks Cal Raleigh. Julio strikes out. Oh, no, never mind. This was in the 12th inning when he did the job. Then they sent him back out for the 13th, and it's just going to be a first-pitch walk-off home run by Leo Rivas. Yeah, just a little first-pitch slider down the middle. Pulls it down the line. 5th straight win by the Mariners. They're feeling it. This kid gets his moment. This is what, his 2nd homer of the year? So wow. Cal Raleigh had the Gatorade cooler ready prior to the home run trot. That's impressive. Wow, getting water showered before you even reach home plate is impressive. "27 runners left on base by both teams." Yeah, Cardinals might be cooked now. But big win for the Mariners. Yep, 2nd homer of the year. So he gets his moment. Big moment there. This was a crazy game. A lot of people pitched in this game. 10th, 11th inning. Somehow the Mariners pitched a nail-biter game without Munoz and Brash pitching. So credit to them. Caleb Ferguson. Vargas. Yeah, so this was originally a Drew Gilbert and Michael McGreevy showdown that devolved into a 13-inning nightmare, but really good. One thing to look at, look where the infield is. They thought he was going to bunt. Who, Rivas? Yeah, okay. Yeah. That is pretty funny to look at. Good call, Mike. You got them completely pulled in here. Looks like they're about to run some sort of wheel play here to try to get the lead runner. So they had no idea he was going to even swing away here. And instead, he just goes dinger, game over. So it'd be like that sometimes. Merrill's expected stats on the 104-mile-an-hour line drive, 868 expected batting average, 63.4% home run. Is that what that's what that is? Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a home run off the bat. I think he top spun it a little bit. I also think maybe there's a little bit of something with the marine layer. Can never discount the marine layer's effect on San Diego at night. So maybe a little something with that. And we looked at ballpark factors, right, for the pod for Petco. Let's see that again. I'm just gonna do 1 year instead of the rolling 3 years. And if we go by home run, they're 20th. Petco Park with a 90 ballpark score for home runs this year. So I know the Padres, as good as their offense looks on paper, they haven't hit a lot of homers. And that's been a little weird. What happens if we click on Petco? Yeah, last year it got a score of 123 in 2024, interestingly, on home runs. But this year back down to 90, which is kind of where it's been most of the time. Can you filter by night games only? You sure can, Mitch. You sure can. And at night, it actually gives it a slightly better rating of 94 for this year. But I guess that we could probably filter by, if we want to go back to all the different venues here and filter by night. Yeah, and if in night games overall, it's the 27th best park to hit in general, and it has nothing over league average. So maybe that's playing in a little bit. It's also crazy to see that the Yankee Stadium at night, 26th best hitting park. T-Mobile way down there on the list as the worst. So good idea there to filter by night. That's interesting. Anyway, Jackson Merrill, he definitely put a charge into that ball. But it didn't seem to matter. All right. Jake Berger hit the 2 homers. Should we watch? Oh, Max Kepler. I want to talk a little bit about Max Kepler. So I know we don't want to harp too much on this Mets-Philly series because it's super over. But Max Kepler's been really good of late. Maybe I can find that really quick. His splits, because he's been a big deal since the break. And that's another big factor for the Phillies. It just makes their lineup that much better. And they signed this guy for big money for a 1-year deal coming into the offseason. Coming through the offseason, and he's been a big disappointment. But post All-Star 746 OPS, so a lot better. 789 in August, and now he's in 1,000 OPS in September. He had a big game versus the Mets last night. So Phillies and the Mets. I just think this is a big development for them. If they get Max Kepler hitting, that's going to be a big deal. First at bat, he gets hit by a pitch by Clay Holmes to drive in his first run. So a little bit of pain with that RBI. Gets hit with the back knee. Then he flew out, and then he's going to get 3 straight hits here. First, it's a huge first pitch ambush off Soto. I was watching when this happened. Obviously, the game was in the balance here a little bit. Gregory Soto comes in, tries to get ahead with the first pitch. Left on left, Kepler has other ideas. He comes right out swinging and laces this line drive up the middle. Broken bat, but stayed through it nicely. Shoots it up the middle. Siri comes in, can't make the play. So Kepler with another RBI there. Then he comes back around to face Soto again. This time bases loaded. Ambushes him on a sinker again. This time shoots it into right center. So stays tight on back-to-back at-bats versus Soto on upper 90s sinkers bearing in on him, and is able to kind of allow himself to get jammed, get the ball out to the outfield, and he picked up an additional 3 RBIs with those 2 swings. And I like the fact that he was aggressive on the first pitch. That lets me know that he's in a pretty good spot with his swing at this moment. And then the last at-bat, he homers off Helsley. Helsley decided to go right back to throwing the fastballs last night. He didn't stick with the off-speed. So fastball, ball 1, 1-0 fastball, smashed. And I'm watching the game thinking just like, what happened to the approach from the other night? Just continue to throw the off-speed. Because back-to-back fastballs are not fooling anybody right now at the box. 112 off the bat at 22 for Max Kepler. This is probably his best bolt of the season, and it comes on a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. So again, Helsley, can we go back to throwing the off-speed first approach? When in doubt, throw the slider, and then sneak the fastball in as a secondary. Let's just flip that around a little bit. I think that will help you. Curious, actually, now that we just looked at that, what his percentages were last night. Player breakdown. Ryan Helsley, 15 four-seamers, 8 sliders, 3 curveballs. I just don't understand necessarily the 15 four-seamers. Nothing has really changed. He got 6 swings on the four-seam, 0 whiffs. And I think that's what everybody's sitting on. He should really just spam the off-speed pitches and use the fastball as a chase pitch. At this point, I think whether you're tipping or not tipping, I think that's become apparent. I'm surprised they went right back to throwing fastballs. His previous outing, he threw 1 fastball in 13 pitches and had a 1-2-3 inning. So I'd like to see him get back to that. All right. Yeah, I know he's used to doing it. I agree, Scott. He's definitely used to doing that. But you got to face facts. Right now, the fastball is not playing. So don't be that stubborn with it. Like, we got enough sample size now over the last couple of months. I think you got to switch up your usage. And remember, that slider is still one of the best sliders in the game. One of the best sliders in the game. Full stop. Rangers hit 2 homers. Jake Berger. Should we watch that? Brewers, Rangers. Jake Berger's got sick pop. Let's see. Oh, Freddie Peralta, too. Ooh, above the zone. The old above the zone homer. 108.4. It's ball smacked. Really good swing. Damn, how do you go up and get this, though?
He swings and hammers that one to center.
I mean, he keeps the shoulders flat, which is what I'm always saying is the key on the high fastball. But it looks to me like he is very handsy anyway. Somehow he keeps them flat, but forces the hands out front. And, you know, you just got thunder because he's a big boy. So that's the first homer. Here's the second homer, also off of Peralta. This one's going to be on changeup.
Really good pitching matchup in that one. He's seen a pretty good pitching matchup here.
Ooh, another one to center. This one's 112. 112 at 22. That's an impressive shot. So this at bat, he went changeup, curveball, changeup. Changeup. So I guess he probably decided right at that moment I should look for off speed. After he got beat with the fastball up earlier. Yeah, great swing. Almost impossible to do. Hit a ball slightly opposite field, 112 miles an hour on a changeup. So, really sick job by Jake Berger there. He used some sick home runs against the Mets when he was on the Marlins. That used to just feel like they came out of nowhere at least once a series, just a freaking nuke. In a key moment, too, a lot of the time. All right. Yep, Chapman got finally hit last night. Angels. We had a Buxton home run in there. No Trout, though. D-backs, Giants. Tough loss for the Giants yesterday. Diamondbacks just flat out outplayed them yesterday. Giants need to keep winning. Skeens was great again yesterday. Haven't really pretty much been watching all his starts, but I guess I didn't watch this one, so maybe we'll finish with a quick Paul Skeens watch. Hard to ignore Paul Skeens. Orioles and Pirates. I think he goes 5 innings. So we'll just watch some result pitches, see what he gets his outs on from last night. 64 pitches, so they're taking care of him now. All right, Jackson Holiday is going to be the first victim. 4-seam up away. Jeremiah Jackson, he's going to get him out with a sweeper. And Gunner, he's going to get him out with a fastball. See if it's another up and away. Looks like up in. Ooh, just beats him middle in. Gunner, every time I've watched the Orioles in the last 2 weeks, he has not looked right at the plate. And for my money, Gunnar Henderson is one of the top 15 players in the big leagues. But he's just had an uneven year and a frustrating year. Mountcastle is going to get a hit here on a sinker. Infield hit. So even when he gives up hits, they're kind of BS. And then he just goes ahead and says, you know what, I need a double play. I'll get a double play. Ooh, he's getting it on a 4-seam. Wow, middle. Basayo grounds it over. Double play. And then Colton Cowser is going to get him with a 4-seam. So getting some outs with the fastball in the early going. Up away, very good spot for him. Gets the swing through. 3rd inning, Dylan Carlson called out. This is going to be a fastball as well. Ooh, up in, frozen. Man, this ball had some angle to it. He didn't mean to do this, but this is nasty. Good catch by Henry back there, too. Henry Davis. Really good catch. Henry Davis, the kid who I played catch with during the pandemic when he was still at Louisville, but he's from my area. Then next thing you know, he's the #1 pick in the draft. It's crazy. Boom. Nasty. And then Colby Mayo. Oh, wait. I guess I'm watching everything. So Beavers gets him for a hit. Interesting. It's got to be up. Beavers likes the ball up. Yep. It's the first thing I noticed when I did the watching video on Dylan Beavers. His swing is built for the top half of the zone. So it's unique. It's very much built for the modern times. He problem solved all the 4-seam pitchers. Figured out he'd groove this swing for the top of the zone. So we'll see how pitchers, once they realize that, how they attack him. I think he's going to get a lot of sinkers and changeups and stuff down. All right, here's a Kobe Mayo strikeout. Sweeper. Ooh, out front of that. So that acted like a little bit of a changeup, like an off-speed. And then he finishes out the 3rd with a Jackson Holiday ground out, this time on a changeup. Another perfect location. Ooh, it's going to be a nice play by the shortstop. Very nice play. All right, 4th inning. Jeremiah Jackson. Going to get him out with a sweeper for the 2nd time. 2nd time he's popped it up. And you can see the sweeper here. One thing to note, 8.8 inches of vert on it. So that pitch is staying up, and that's why you see a lot of guys slice under it. So right on right with the sweeper, if you have any lift to it, you're going to get a lot of pop-ups. That's the contact quality you're looking for. Pop-ups are pretty much harmless out there for you. And that's what he gets here. Good pitch. All right, Gunnar Henderson. 2nd time he's going to get him with that splitter, that splinker. This is the pitch he's going away from quite a bit this year, but he brought it back out yesterday, which I thought was good. Just showing that he still got it. And again, to me, this is his best pitch. It's shocking that he went away from it. Hasn't affected his numbers, so hard to be critical, but it's 94-1, and it's negative 3.5 inches of vertical break on a sinker, splitter. I mean, people just don't have this pitch. So that's why I say this is a triple plus. The amount of drop, considering how fast it's moving, is special. And I had multiple hitters tell me that faced him last year that they thought that was one of the best handful of pitches they've ever seen. So he gets the ground out there, and then he's going to get Mountcastle with a sweeper. So he's punched out a few righties with sweepers and a few lefties with fastballs. This is outstanding location. And then the 5th inning, he finishes with a flurry. Gets Basayo here with a fastball, probably up away. Oop, just middle, gets the take. It's also amazing how often he gets a take middle in. Like, pretty good pitch to hit here. But he must have gotten their attention all the way away, and then this pitch shoots in. And it's a freeze.
Well, he didn't slug, he didn't
He really has hitters just questioning themselves a lot up there. They don't know what he's going to come with them at. They're always down 0-2, 1-2. He does everything that you would want him to do. It's Kowser out front on the changeup. So beautiful effect there. Gets the weak fly out, and then he finishes his outing with a strikeout of Dylan Carlson. Also a fastball. So they pull him after this. He was in line for the W, obviously. 5 shutout innings. They pull him at how many pitches? 64 pitches. So just another day. Just another day for Paul Skeens. He lowers the ERA even further to 1.92 through 30 starts this year. The Cy Young, I think you can wrap it up. It's going to be his in the National League. Hard to quibble with this guy. He's been incredible. And he went over that 200 strikeout threshold, which is always a good milestone for any pitcher, any starting pitcher. So we just haven't seen probably anyone who's come out the gate this strong. This is really, really, really impressive. Really incredible stuff. I love the way that it seems like he just throws whatever the moment needs. He's not stuck on any one thing, and I think no hitter can really think along with that approach because he's just going to throw what the situation calls for, and he's not going to get pigeonholed into throwing one thing when you're expecting it. All right, we got a question in the chat. Otto, who's your favorite pitcher that isn't talked about enough? Ooh, favorite pitcher not talked about enough. That's a good question. I guess it obviously would have to be somebody in a smaller market if they're not talked about a lot. So let me think about this for a moment. Well, probably some of the guys in Seattle like Logan Gilbert or George Kirby. To me, those guys are very, very high up. And, I just think that they play in Seattle. So not a lot of people are going to watch their games. They start really late on the East Coast. They're really far away, it feels like. But they have some really great pitchers, particularly Logan Gilbert I really like a lot because of the way he pitches innings. He pitched last night too. But if you haven't watched this guy, he's really aggressive. I just like the way he goes about it. And look at the inning totals. This is not typical for a modern pitcher. I know he spent some time, probably not going to get to the 200 innings this year, not even close, but still. 185, 190, and then 208 last year. I love that. Consistent. Out there, can be trusted, can pitch to everybody. Chris Carpenter. Why are we laughing about Chris Carpenter? I love Chris Carpenter. He was one of my mentors, if you will, when I came up with the Cardinals. He was great. So good. Wait, did I not share any stats on Logan Gilbert? Oh, yeah, I didn't share. Okay, here's the screen I was looking at. This is his innings pitched, Logan Gilbert. You can see 185, 190, 208. So really, really good. All right. I think we've done enough talking today. Big points from today I wanted to make was the Dodgers are separating themselves again from the Padres, and they're starting to look whole again. That rotation's getting going, and getting Mookie going is huge and majorly key. Phillies also hitting their stride as well. I see the Dodgers and the Phillies now as the top 2 National League teams. I don't mean any disrespect to the Brewers, but I still see the Dodgers and the Phillies now as the 2 best teams, given what they can provide and what they can throw out there headed into the postseason. So we'll see. It's a very exciting last couple of weeks coming up here. Let's do the probables for today's games. Thank you to everybody who hung out with me today and really this whole week. Tomorrow I will be on MLB at 10:30, and then Saturday night, which is I think will become maybe one of my most fun streams that we're going to do, is the Baseball After Dark, 10 p.m. on Saturday. So we got games in action. We got games that just finished. Hopefully in the future I'll be able to jump into live games, working on that. Okay, Pirates and Orioles, Yohan Oviedo and Cade Povich. Rays and White Sox, Ian Seymour, Shane Smith. I had a Rays fan asking me about Ian Seymour. Honestly, I haven't watched him a ton yet, so I'd like to dig in a little further and help with some understanding about him, but haven't gotten there yet. Then we got Astros and Blue Jays. This has been a good series, hotly contested. Christian Javier and Kevin Gausman, so 2 good pitchers on the mound today, 3:07 start today in Rogers Center. Nats and Marlins, Mackenzie Gore. I think he's coming back off the IL. And Ryan Weathers, who actually... so this is 2 of the hardest throwing lefties you're going to see. Ryan Weathers throws cheese. Tigers, Yankees. The Yankees need this game. They've played 2 sloppy games in a row. Tyler Holton, who actually watched pitch last night, he's going to go ahead and open this game for the Tigers. They're going to do their pitching chaos strategy today. And then Cam Schlittler, who had probably his worst start of his career, early young career last game. I look for him to bounce back today versus the Tigers. Stephen Kolek and Gavin Williams, Royals versus Guardians. And then tonight, Game 4 at the bank. 2 lefties, David Peterson, Jesus Luzardo. Can David Peterson take control of this situation and throw a gem tonight and kind of will the Mets to victory in a game that they'd really like to have? Or is Jesus Luzardo going to be the guy for the Phillies and they're going to go for the sweep? Rockies and Pods in San Diego, McCade, Brown, and Randy Vasquez. Padres looking to get back on the winning side of things and chase down the Dodgers after losing those 2 games to the Reds. Angels and Mariners, Jose Soriano and Bryce Miller from Seattle. Seattle looking to continue their winning ways against the Angels. Jose Soriano's pretty good, though. Bryce Miller is another one of those big 5 that the Mariners have. He's been hurt a lot, too, but he's another really nasty guy. So Mariners pitching coming into form, Dodgers pitching coming into form, Phillies coming into form. That's kind of the main stuff that I noticed for today. So thanks for hanging out. It's been a good one today. I will see you guys tomorrow over on MLB. If anybody's going to be in that stream at 10:30, and then the day after that, Saturday night, as we head into the weekend. So thanks for hanging me Monday through Thursday. This has been fun all week long. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.